Greetings, my friends. Please consider supporting me in my war to save pop culture by subscribing to my channel and possibly even becoming a channel member for exclusive videos, access to Doomcock emojis, and more. And if you like this video in particular, please consider using the new Super Thanks feature and putting a tip in the tip jar located next to the like buttons down at the bottom of the video. Thank you for watching, and now, on to the video. My friends, I stand before you here today because I am disturbed by recent reports suggesting that a new Star Wars movie is in the works, which is bad enough news when you consider that Kathleen Kennedy would probably be in charge of it, but it's even worse news when you consider that this movie is allegedly being written by Damon Lindelof, one of the worst hacks in Hollywood. This new Star Wars film by Lindelof was leaked back in October of 2022, and the press has pretty much taken this at face value, talking about it like it's a done deal, and yet recently my Hollywood spies have revealed a rumor that all may not be as it appears, and this particular emperor may have no clothes on at all. In this video, I'm going to examine what is being presented about this alleged project in the MSM. I'm going to make a case that this rumored project may well be nothing more than smoke and mirrors, and finally why, if this project is real, it's almost certainly the last nail in Star Wars' coffin.
When I heard the news, I was disgusted, dude. Lindelof is one of the worst of the worst. I know you can't stand the crap he puts out there, and I don't blame you, man. To quote Casablanca, of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, Lindelof sucks. Indeed. Woke Hollywood seems to love going back to the bad robot well over and over again, probably because the company would appear to have even less scruples than it has talent, and the talent level is abysmal. I imagine they have a sign outside their offices in Hollywood: "Bad robot will corrupt franchises for food." Lindelof doing a Star Wars movie is a disaster, no doubt.
I would despair about this alleged development because I despise Lindelof's work with a fiery rage that would melt the polar ice caps in a heartbeat, were it not for my insulating helmet that both keeps my head from exploding from skyrocketing blood pressure and keeps my fiery rage from melting glaciers and whatnot. Why do I despise Damon Lindelof, you ask? Let me count the ways. If Jar Jar Abrams is the cinematic antichrist, as I've maintained for years and years now, then Bad Robot is cinematic hell, and Damon Lindelof, being a Bad Robot alumnus, is certainly one of Abrams' archdevils. I first came to despise Damon Lindelof after it became clear that the TV show Lost was a complete and total lie from start to finish. Lost was a show that piled mystery upon mystery, the more outlandish the better. It was a bottomless well of strange and intriguing plot points that kept people on the edge of their seats for season after season. But you know, funny thing is, mysteries and bizarre happenings are really easy to come up with if you never intend to solve them or explain them. And that was Lindelof's strategy on Lost. Writer David Fury quit the show in the first season and then announced to the press that there was no plan for the show. They were just making it up as they went along, and he had no desire to participate in that kind of con. People ignored him, and he was proven to be all too correct in his complaint in the end. The writers of Lost weren't writers in this case at all. They were con men, running a shell game on a street corner, taking our money on gamble after gamble, scrambling the shells around, and only at the end did we viewers finally realize that there was no pee on the table. The 3 shells they were scrambling around were empty all the time. There was no substance here. It was all Jar Jar Abrams' mystery box bullshit, a lie from start to finish, and many fell for it. Well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I vowed, after Lost, to despise these con men and avoid their work to the end of my days as much as possible, especially given how horrendous Lindelof's work was on Prometheus and the loathsome and disgustingly woke Watchmen TV show. And now, this clown is allegedly working on a Star Wars movie. But is this actually true? This rumor started back on October 23rd, 2022, when Deadline broke an exclusive story. Star Wars movie from Damon Lindelof and Lucasfilm sets Ms. Marvel's Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy as director. In that article, they said, quote, "Exclusive. Following months of speculation, Deadline is now hearing from several sources close to the project that not only is Damon Lindelof developing a new Star Wars film for Lucasfilm, but that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy has been set as director. Lindelof is co-writing the project, though it is unknown at this time who his writing partner might be. Insiders say the script is still being written, which means production is likely far out. That said, sources add it was important to Lucasfilm and Lindelof that a director be brought in so that person's own vision for where they see the story headed gets included in the script. Lucasfilm and reps for Obaid-Chinoy could not be reached for comment. As for what the film is actually focused on, that will remain under wraps as this project remains one of the more guarded secrets in all of Hollywood," unquote. Yes, so guarded a secret, as it turns out. There is no mention of it on IMDb at this time, as was pointed out to me by Mexican Iron Man. It may be yet more hot BS served up in classic Kathleen Kennedy style. There's a lot about this that smells fishy to me, folks. First of all, despite a recent rumor from a small website that said filming for the Lindelof Star Wars movie was set to begin this coming April, which is clearly bullshit, this article explicitly states the script is still being written, which means production is likely far out. In other words, this film is in development, and what that means is it ain't real yet. It's in development, just like Rogue Squadron was in development, like Ruin Johnson's Phony Star Wars trilogy was in development, like Benioff and Weiss's trilogy was in development, like Star Trek IV under Bad Robot has been in development many times, with many different writers and directors, and every single time these so-called films in development have been announced, it's been total bullshit. Bad Robot and Secret Hideout have a long history of releasing phony press releases about supposedly greenlit projects that aren't greenlit at all, in order to drum up investor interest, to try to sucker some idiot with money into getting on board the money train. Although sadly for these sucker investors, or easy marks as they're known to circus carnies and presumably Bad Robot executives, the only money on these money trains is what the rube brings with him. Remember all the different Star Trek IV versions with Tarantino, with Chris Hemsworth, with Hawley, over and over again? Whatever happened to Section 31? Bad Robot announces projects that never go anywhere all the time. And so does Kathleen Kennedy, who does it for somewhat different reasons as far as I can see. Kennedy releases phony projects out of desperation, trying to force Disney's hand to actually fund them after her minions in the press trumpet the announcement. Ruin Johnson's trilogy, Weiss and Benioff's trilogy, Rogue Squadron, even Solo 2, which was recently hinted at in the press, a sequel to Solo, which lost money? Really? You expect us to believe that? And now, this Damon Lindelof announcement, which I find highly suspect for many reasons, not the least of which is what my Hollywood spies are telling me. At this point, what I'm about to tell you is information provided to me by a source or sources claiming knowledge of the situation inside Disney, but since I cannot personally verify this information, I am presenting it as unverified rumor, and I ask you to please take it with a grain of salt. My Hollywood spies contacted me and told me, quote, "So we've been working on this, and here's what we have so far. There is a new movie being pitched, and allegedly it's working under the name of The New Order. Allegedly, it had not been approved at the moment. Allegedly, Bob Iger is waiting to see how Indy 5 turns out. This is what this source said, quote, "As of right now, this movie is at 50-50. It's a desperate attempt to stop the stock price from falling more. If Indy 5 does $1 billion, because that is what Disney expects," unbelievable, "then this new order becomes more relevant. If Indy 5 is under $800 million, that will most likely kill the project, unquote.
Well then, this new project is deader than Dillinger. As newsflash, Indy 5 is not going to make $1 billion. What do I think it will actually make? I think it will actually make a lot of people throw up. Unfortunately, I shan't be throwing up as I have no stomach, but I do anticipate one hell of a headache.
Regardless of any of this, one other argument against this being real as of this moment is this. Kathleen Kennedy is rumored to be finally heading out the door, most likely this year, right after Indy 5 completes her contract. As such, it makes sense that Miss Kathy is tying up loose ends, and one of those loose ends is the smoking ruins of the Star Wars franchise. KK wants to protect her legacy of destroying George Lucas's work and make sure that her precious sequel trilogy stands. To that end, getting pressure on Disney and trying to maneuver things to make Lindelof's Star Wars movie a reality guards her legacy because, lo and behold, the latest mainstream media articles are proclaiming that John Boyega's Finn character will be in this upcoming movie. Finn is, of course, a character from the much-hated Star Wars sequels. Thus, if he appears in another movie, it will cement these sequels as canon even further, and that means Star Wars will finally and completely be dead. The only hope for Star Wars has been that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau will be erasing the sequel trilogy using the Veil of the Force, the world between worlds in Ahsoka, probably following Kathleen Kennedy's departure when she can't do a damn thing about it. But if she can slip another sequel-supporting movie into production as a lovely parting gift to the fans she has already so viciously screwed over, as she heads out the door, it'll help negate that plan. So in conclusion, my friends, this movie is by no means a done deal. At this point, it is essentially smoke and mirrors, but KK is working on it. And if she succeeds, it'll be the final nail in Star Wars' coffin. Things are in flux, my friends. All is not lost yet, but let all Star Wars fans pray this garbage project from KK and Bad Robot never sees the light of day, just like Ruin Johnson's trilogy. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha